In this video I will show you how to defrost and clean your freezer. The first step is to disconnect your freezer from the power supply. Either unplug it or turn it off. When the freezer is switched off, the next step follows. Now all the frozen stuff has to come out of the freezer. For this I have a cool bag where I put a few cold packs. Of course you can also just ask your neighbors or relatives and acquaintances if you can store your freezer stuff there. Or you don't buy anything new for now and use up the old stuff once. I pack everything in my cooler bag and put it aside for the time being. Then I can take out the drawers here. Maybe you just have a grid that you can take out depending on how big your freezer is. You can take all of that out and we can clean those up wonderfully later. In mine you can see that even the drawers are already full of ice. It's really urgent that the whole thing gets cleaned and defrosted. When we have put everything aside, I now put a towel at the bottom so that coarse pieces of ice can collect here, and also a bowl. I just took a bowl for the oven, which fits perfectly in my freezer, and then all the big ice falls into it and most of the water drips into it. I also put a towel in front of the freezer in case some water runs out, so you don't have a big puddle right in front of your freezer. But the whole thing is caught well by the towel. Now we need another pot. I have hot water in there. You can either make that hot on the stove or in the kettle. This will speed up the defrosting process a bit, but you don't have to do it. It will just take a bit longer. Then you have to wait a little while until the whole thing slowly dissolves. In that time you can now clean the drawers or compartments. I just do that with some hot water. Then I add a little dish soap and then you can easily wipe them out with a sponge. After that, of course, rinse again so that no dish soap residues are in it. Dry the whole thing once and then the compartments are clean again and can be put aside for the time being. If then some time has passed, then you can already see that the ice slowly dissolves. Here I can already break off individual pieces. To speed up the process you can of course also help a little here. However, you should look at what you use. It's best to use something made of plastic. I usually use a simple spoon or for example a spatula. What you should not use is anything made of metal or a knife, because you can damage your freezer with it. So you could now hook here a little bit behind and also dissolve somewhat larger ice lumps. Eventually everything will be defrosted and you will have knocked off most of it. Then you have to take out the pot and the bowl again. Of course be careful because they are now full of water. Then you take a damp cloth and wipe everything out. So all the grids and the sides. So that in the end everything is really nice and dry. You then also take a towel and wipe the whole thing completely dry. Then you have already cleaned most of your freezer and the next step follows. Now you can put the clean drawers and grids back in and then you should turn your freezer on again. Then close the freezer and wait a little while before you put your stuff back in, because it has to cool down again. And you have successfully dismantled and cleaned your freezer. Right now in screen I show you another video how you can clean your washing machine with mouthwash. If you liked the video, then I would be really happy about a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel and activate the bell so you don't miss any new video.